Hey everybody, Josh Runkelwist here for the Heavy Debriefings podcast with another rousing episode of Out Today and What I Missed, this time for August 23rd, 2024. This is my very first Out Today and What I Missed as a 36-year-old man, and I am currently experiencing the month from hell. Make sure to check out the Heavy Debriefings podcast, specifically this coming episode, to figure out why everything has been going wrong. But I'll tell you something that's been going right. The great music of August 2024. We got 10 brand new albums here, 8 out today, 2 I've missed along the way. Let's get into it. First up this week is the sophomore album from All For Metal with Gods of Metal, Year of the Dragon. Now this is everything that you're looking for if you're looking for the heavy metal, power metal, modern metal, and just something that's really, really fun. This takes everything that the band worked on with their debut album and doubled down on the parts that really work for the band. Every single song is catchy, it's heavy in the right spots, it's poppy and catchy in all the others. It's just fun to listen to from start to finish. Think of a band like Sabaton, like Powerwolf, but doing their own style behind all of it. And all of these songs were designed for the live experience, so if you're enjoying what you hear on record, it's gonna sound even better in the live experience. Seriously, you need something fun at this point in 2024, especially if you're in the US, so give this one a shot. Next up is Alleviate with an album I think is pronounced Demons. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Bands, you need to stop doing the thing where you take out the vowels. But that said, I really do enjoy this album. It is layered in post-hardcore, metalcore, modern metal, but it has its own distinct feel behind it because this is a supergroup sorts where it features prominent members of the post-hardcore, metalcore, deathcore scene all mixed together to create something that's very captivating and intriguing from start to finish. The whole album feels this way, and I really appreciate it when a band puts together an album from start to finish still in 2024 and has purpose behind all of it. This isn't going to be for everybody who checks out my reviews, but if you dig the stuff that sounds like the early 2000s updated for 2024, give this one a shot. Next up, we have Carmeria with Tragedy d'Amour. Now, this is another sophomore album I'm talking about this week, but this time coming from Australia, and it's that perfect blend of symphonic goth rock. Basically, if you listen to the podcast, this is made for the Metal Fairy. This is that 2000s symphonic and Finnish goth rock sound, but done from an Australian band and incorporating their own little flavors into it. This is absolutely my kind of stuff as well, too. Really takes me back to the late 90s and early 2000s, but it is updated it just enough for 2024. So if you're looking for the likes of To Die For and Him and Sentenced and all those great bands that really congregated around that time, but you want to hear a refreshing take on it, seriously, check out Carmeria. Next up, we have Demiser with Slave to the Scythe. And wouldn't you know it, this is another sophomore album, but this time coming from South Carolina. And it is some of the most pure blackened speed metal I've heard in 2024. Of course, when you have so many bands like Wraith and Midnight who have put out such fantastic blackened speed this year, I'm so glad Demiser has come in and did their own spin on it because it feels like it takes everything to a new level. It makes everything faster, it makes everything heavier. It feels just that tad more evil and everything in between. It's no wonder these guys got signed to Metal Blade. They are just a perfect band for that label. While it's not reinventing the wheel, it just turns up the notch on everything you expect from this level and shows how it really should be done. And if you're looking for some of the best blackened speed metal of 2024, check out Demiser. Up next is Flesh God Apocalypse with Opera, and wow, this is going to be really hard to keep under a minute for the YouTube Shorts version, but needless to say, this is Album of the Year material. It may be my Album of the Year, but it's too early to say. This is the perfect symphonic death metal album. It comes from pure tragedy coming from Francesco and his near-death experience rock climbing, and you can just hear his power and struggle to come back to life after everything that happened, and he came out out with the best Flesh God album to date. I did not know if it was going to be possible for them to beat Villano, but they certainly did. And of course, Veronica has stepped up and is doing all of the clean vocals now in the band, not just the operatic. So it feels like Francesco and Veronica are the real stars of the band now. And if you like what they do with their chemistry, and if you like their blend of symphonic death metal, this is the best symphonic death metal of 2024. Up next is My Fictions with Touch of Glass, and the return LP from this Massachusetts band shows them at their most insane. This is the most post-hardcore album I've heard this year, but also with that perfect blend of first wave metalcore. No, I'm not talking about Killswitch Engage and Shadows Fall, I'm talking about things like Converge, and it just mashes both of these up perfectly, and it just makes it so heavy, so dramatic, so emotional, that you feel everything from start to finish. Whether it feels like you want to go into the pit or you just want to have yourself a good cry, everything in between. This album really goes for the jugular, and I appreciate that so very, very much. I need albums like this in my life. It just hits that certain scratch, and I thank My Fictions for putting this together, and I'm so glad they've come back. Next up, we have Paralydium with Universe Calls, and this is another fantastic display of prog metal in 2024, although this is much more on the traditional prog metal side, something you would probably hear in the late 90s, early 2000s style of prog metal. And wouldn't you know it features a couple past and present members of the band Dynasty, and instead of sounding like Dynasty, they really start to inhabit a lot of bands like Seventh Wonder, Evergrey, Symphony X. It's kind of a dark style of progressive metal, which was very huge in the late 90s and early 2000s, and very, very much in my wheelhouse. You add all of that with some fantastic production and a songwriting style that really takes you back but feels modern enough. This is my kind of prog, and if you're in that line of view, you will love what Paralydium is all about. And finally, for brand new stuff out today is Zeal and Ardor with their brand new album, Grief. And this is the most diverse album the band has ever put out. If you're looking for the old school Devil is Fine or self-titled Zeal and Ardor, that no longer exists in the band. Although it could come back, but it is not right now. Manuel has decided to let the entire band be able to write for the band, and it really does feel like a band-focused album. Is there black metal? Yes. Is there experimentation? Oh yeah. But there's so much more to the album. Everything from current day blues rock to what sounds like Phantom Moss meets Mr. Bungle. It is a very Mike Patton song, and everything in between. Everything that I love about this album, I love. But I will be honest, there are moments of this album I do not dig at all. I'll leave it to you to listen to it and figure out what those are. But if you want to hear the next continuation of Zeal and Ardor, it's here for your listening pleasure. And now on to everything I missed along the way. Only 2 albums this week. First, starting off with Immorium with Rosewater Black. And this is my kind of melodeath, straight out of Australia. It is some of the most dark, crushing melodeath I've heard in quite some time. It is that blend of Australian melodeath and progressive death metal. If you really like the likes of Bellicor, you're gonna find something to truly appreciate about In Memoriam. The lyrics are gonna tear you apart, and it gut punches you with the music that matches it so perfectly. I know not everyone wants to be sad, but this is a sad album that feels like such a cathartic feeling, and I need that kind of stuff in my life, and you might as well. And honestly, I could see this fitting into some Funeral Doom playlists if you don't mind that the music is about twice or 3 times the speed of Funeral Doom. That of course is a joke. But of course, if you want something that will bring you down to its lowest, give this album a spin. It is more than worth your time. And finally today we end with a debut album from the band Chaos with By the Moon and the Stars. This is a Canadian melodeath band that really focuses in on the thrashier side of melodeath. So imagine the likes of At the Gates, particular eras of Carcass, and of course, their biggest influence without a question is Kalma. It is just that perfect blend of the thrashier side of melodeath with their own little bits and spices to make them stand out amongst the crowd. And the production value really really does feel like it's transformed you back into 1996. It is raw, it is unadulterated, but it fits so perfect for the music on hand and really gives it that old school feel, but it was done in 2024. And if you're looking for something that really harkens back to those glory days of the early day Melodeath, but done in 2024, listen to the new era of thrashy Melodeath with Chaos. And there you go, folks, 10 brand new albums, 8 out today, 2 I missed along the way. What do you think? Did I pick out some good albums? I'd like to think I do. Some of these are definitely going to appear on the top end of the top 100 albums of 2024 at the end of the year, but maybe not for you. Maybe all these suck. Maybe I have a terrible taste in music. Anything in between? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, if you did enjoy what you did, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Let's keep the channel growing. It's slowly but surely doing it every single week, but you know, can always use some more, and I do really appreciate it anytime that you do. I am in incredible pain right now, both physically and mentally over the past week, so if this wasn't my best outing, I am very, very sorry for my quality, and I hope to be more up to game next week, and I also hope that the quality of music this week more than makes up for that. But until August 30th, 2024, for the next edition of Out Today and What I Missed, this is Josh Ronquist for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel saying, embrace the skullet.